The AdvanceLab manual Hotwire bottle cutter, the AL-BCT01. The control panel on the BCT01 comes with an emergency stop button. The emergency stop button cuts off all power going through the equipment and should be utilized if something goes wrong during the cutting process. An audible alarm will also go off when the emergency button is pushed and will turn off once the safety key has been engaged. Next to the emergency stop button, there is the main power on-off switch. Every time the emergency button is pushed, a safety mode is engaged. To disengage the safety, the operator must use the fail-safe key in order to put the bottle cutter back in operable mode and shut off the alarm. Within the heater controls, there is a heater on-off switch for the cutting wires. This can be toggled on-off as needed when utilizing the manual operation. In on mode, the heater power will always turn on automatically once the cutting rack has been lowered for cutting. In off mode, the equipment will run a self-check on the heater element when powering the BCT01 on, along with the audio-visual alarm. There is also a heater level knob, which allows control of the amount of heat being put through the wires for cutting. This is necessary to cut varying types of bottles ranging in thickness. Lastly, there is a heater level gauge. This reads the total percentage of heat being applied to the cutting wires at any given moment. Once you have learned all the controls of the BCT01, it would be best to remove the bottle holding fixture in order to familiarize yourself with the controls further. Removing the bottle holding fixture will allow you to get a feel for the BCT01 controls without worrying about the fixture or a bottle to be cut, which will come later. This testing process should be completed before operating the BCT01 to cut a bottle. Use the cutting rack handle on the equipment to familiarize yourself with the movements of the cutting rack during its travel. The movement speed is controlled by the operator and should be a smooth up and down motion. We must first familiarize ourselves with the heater controls. You may switch on the heater power by using the on-off switch. When moving the heater level knob, the value indicated by the needle should move according to the movement of the knob. This change in heating percentage should also be visible in the cutting wires, changing from a slight pink to a vivid red. Please note that the cutting wires will not be powered on until the cutting rack has been pushed down by the operator as though initiating a cut. If the heater power is switched to off when turning the equipment on, it will perform a quick self-check of the heater element for a few seconds before powering off again. After a few trial runs of the BCT01 without a fixture or bottle, we'll be ready to insert the bottle holding fixture. At this point, make sure that all features of the BCT01 are working. This includes the following: the vacuum vent at the top of the BCT01 to get fumes out of the operator's vicinity. The heater level gauge should show 80% for a couple seconds once the cutting rack has reached the bottle height sensor. This is to allow sufficient time for the cutting wires to heat up completely before going to the predetermined heat set by the heater level knob. Position a bottle vertically within the primary bottle holding fixture. Once in position, the bottle can be moved 360 degrees in 45-degree increments for a selection of a cutting location. Set the heater control until the wires become red or about 70% power. Lower the cutting rack manually until it is close to the bottle, but not close enough to melt the plastic prematurely. The heater wires will begin to heat up. Once you are ready to begin cutting the bottle, push down the cutting rack slowly until the cut is initiated. If the wires are not hot enough to cut the bottle due to its thickness, raise the heater level knob accordingly. Likewise, if the plastic bottle becomes curled or burned, lower the heating temperature. Lower the rack until it completely cuts the bottle. When the bottom of the cutting rack's travel range is reached, power is automatically cut to the wires. Repeat the cutting process while adjusting the speed and temperature until a clean cut is made. The ideal cutting parameters of speed heat should allow a clean cut without causing excess tension on the wires. If the cutting wires are bending, the speed can be lowered, or the heat can be raised to correct this issue. Once you have familiarized yourself with the lowering speed and the heater level to allow for a non-stop single-pass clean cut, you're ready to use the BCT01 for your normal bottle testing use. Allow sufficient time for the heater wires to cool before attempting to remove the newly cut bottle. Now you may raise the cutting rack to its starting position and prepare for another cut. Please note, a clean cut should not bend the wires. If the wires are elongated too much, the safety mode will engage automatically to prevent damage to the equipment. To reduce the stress, lower the cutting rack at a slower pace. It should also not burn or curl the plastic of the bottle being cut. If this occurs, lower the heat using the heater level knob. Cutting a bottle horizontally. Now that you have been familiarized with the cutting motion of the BCT01, we will now cut a bottle horizontally. In order to cut the base of the bottle for inspection, place the secondary bottle holding fixture within the primary fixture just as though it was another milk bottle. Place the bottle neck first into the provided cavity for the bottle neck on the fixture. Then lower the bottle to be securely held in from its bottom. The bottle is now in a secure horizontal position in the bottle cutter. Repeat steps of the previous section to repeat the cutting procedure, making sure to watch out for overtension of the cutting wires and overheating the plastic bottle. Once the bottle has been cut, cease from lowering the cutting rack and shut off the heater power using the on-off switch. Allow time for the heater wires to cool before allowing it to touch the bottle holding fixture. Once the wires have cooled, remove the newly cut bottle and raise the cutting rack to its starting position. Opening the BCT01 for maintenance. In the event that maintenance is required on the BCT01, we will show you how to open the equipment. At the rear, use a Phillips screwdriver and remove the screw to gain access to the PCB circuit board. For larger maintenance projects, remove the 3 hex key screws to gain access to the rear of the equipment. From here, you will have access to all the main components of the bottle cutter.